So today I'm going to give you 10 buys for your Dynasty Fantasy rosters. Coming in at honorable mentions, going to give you Michael Pittman and Chris Olave. And these are just two players that I think are just undervalued big time. Michael Pittman, wide receiver 54. Now, I'm not aggressively targeting Pittman, but just in 2023, he was wide receiver 13 in PPR leagues. Pretty much last season, he was playing with a fracture in his back. So I think if he came out this season and was the lead guy there, definitely wouldn't shock me. So Michael Pittman out there, inexpensive option, maybe a throw in a trade. Chris Olave, I think that he's been talked about a lot, so I'm not going to talk about him much, but definitely another player that is just undervalued, still very young, and at wide receiver 36, crazy. Even if he has a down season, you got to think that upgrade at QB is coming pretty soon for Olave. So those two guys are out there just as honorable mentions for your leagues. Now at number 10, we have Dak Prescott. Now, Dak is the QB 22 overall on Keep Trade Cut. And he struggled last season, but still, in 2023, he was disappointing last season, but in 2023, he was a QB3 in total fantasy points. And really, you got George Pickens there now into the mix for him, adding another weapon. And I'm not sure how effective the run game is going to be. The defense also, they just got rid of Micah Parsons. So I think they're going to be down similar like that Joe Burrow over there in Cincinnati. I think they're just going to have to put up points. And I think that Dak Prescott is definitely a good option. Inexpensive in Dynasty Fantasy Leagues. Definitely could help you if you're a contender, especially in Superflex Leagues. And at player number 9, this is one of my favorite ones to target right now. But I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence. I don't know why it looks like that. Boom, there we go. Trevor Lawrence, QB 18, still 25 years old, guys. We just saw Baker Mayfield thrive in the Liam Cohen system. And I think Lawrence could have a step forward this season as well, similar to Baker. He's talented, young QB still. Now he's got weapons, even more weapons. He's got BTJ. Now he's got Travis Hunter there. I think that Lawrence just going to have a good season here. And if he does, his value will skyrocket. Right now, he's still, like I said, only 25 years old, younger than Baker, Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, that are all ranked ahead of him. So if you can get T-Law for cheap, I think this is a good time to buy him before the season starts or early on in the season. At number 8, we have Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver 27, going into his year 2 right now. And I know a lot of people kind of like Jennings this coming up right now, but Jennings has been holding out with that contract situation, apparently a leg thing, but I think it was more so due to the contract. He hasn't been practicing. I think he barely returned this week to practice. So I think that it's going to be in Ricky Pearsall's favor. We've already seen some signs right down the stretch last season. He had 2 big games to finish the season, 8 receptions for 141 yards and a touchdown, then 6 for 69 and a touchdown. And I think that they're going to get Ricky Pearsall involved. I think this is the season where he has a year 2 breakout and he steps into some of that Deebo Samuel role. I think he's going to make some plays for the Niners this season. So definitely like Ricky Pearsall heading into the season. The next one, another former Niner, right? We have Deebo Samuel, and I think he's a good little buy for contenders, right? If you have like a start 10 league, you're playing three wide receiver, multiple flex. I think Deebo Samuel is a good little buy. Wide receiver 54. I think he's going to have some good production. He's going to be in an ascending offense with an ascending young QB in Jaden Daniels. I think he's gonna have opportunity to prove that he can still play, right? So people would think we're overreacting in preseason, right? That he looked overweight and all that, but really he was wearing rib pads, right? He's not overweight. Age 29, so he is a little bit older. But I think, like I said, if you are a contender, I think you could get him for pretty cheap, probably a 2nd round pick. And if you need some production in that wide receiver 3 spot, I think, or flex spot, I think Deebo could be a good option for you. Last season, he proved that he could still go to a little bit. He was still 4th in yards after catch per reception last season with 8.4. He still got some production in him, especially for this season. I think they'll actually look to him in the run game as well. Looking like a 3-man backfield right now. And they kind of have unproven guys right now. You have Eckler as a veteran, the pass catching option. But I think that they could use Deebo. They've already showed it in preseason too. They gave him some touches in the backfield already. So I think that he could lighten the load there in that backfield as well. I think even near the goal line, he could get some touches. So I think Deebo is just a cheap buy right now for your dynasty rosters. And at number 6, we have DK Metcalf. Now, a lot of people just are down on Metcalf. I don't know why. They just don't seem to like Metcalf for whatever reason. But I think that with that perception, I think that you could acquire him also for pretty inexpensive right now. And I think he's got a decent situation coming into 2025. He's got limited target competition there in Pittsburgh, and he's already turned 66 receptions into 1,000 yards receiving in the past 2 seasons. And I think he should get more volume, only 20% target share in 2024, little over 100 targets. I think he's going to be a solid red zone threat. He doesn't have, Cooper Kupp, no JSN competing there. Roman Wilson, I think, is the wide receiver 2 there. So I think he's just going to have a good opportunity this season. Wide receiver 29 right now. I think he's a good buy, a cheap buy for us, especially for contending rosters. At number 5, we have George Pickens, the former Pittsburgh Steeler, now in his new team in Dallas. And I think even there, just being with CeeDee Lamb, looks like they're having some good camaraderie. I think he's definitely going to learn a lot of things from CeeDee Lamb. And I think he's going to take a step forward with his game. Right now, he's still playing on his rookie contract, so he has to have a good year to get some sort of deal done, make some money for 2026, get a little contract lined up. So I think we're going to have a good season from George Pickens. Now on the Dallas Cowboys, definitely has a solid opportunity in a high pass volume offense. Went over 1,100 yards in 2023, which was his sophomore season, then 900 yards last year in Pittsburgh. So I think he's going to have a good opportunity. I think he's going to land us in that mid wide receiver 2 range, and still only 24 years old right now, heading into year 4. I think he is a good buy in your dynasty leagues. Number 4, we have Quinshon Judkins, and I think there's still time to buy Judkins. He's only 21 years old. He's the RB20 right now in dynasty rankings, and he's still unsigned as of this recording. But the second round pick in the NFL draft, I think it's going to have a slow start, obviously. Even if I think he'll get signed pretty soon. But I think when he comes in, you're going to have maybe a few weeks, maybe, of a buy window. If Dylan Sampson comes out and looks pretty good in that backfield, you might have people doubting, when Quinshon's going to come back. Also, he missed pretty much all of training camp, which is huge for rookies. So I think we're not going to see much of Quinshon Judkins early on, especially also you still have where the NFL could suspend him for a few games. So I think if you're a rebuild, Quinshon Judkins is definitely a good target for you. Maybe, like I said, if he starts off a little slow or on the bench, maybe you can hit up that owner, see if you can get some Quinshon Judkins. At number 3, another rookie running back, we have Caleb Johnson, is the RB19 right now in your dynasty rankings. So drafted in round 3, still has some negative things recently. The buzz hasn't been that hot for him. Some owners could possibly be worried. We've heard about Kenny Gainwell being second on the depth chart right now. Some owners might be a little worried about that. But I think that's just the veteran nod for Kenny Gainwell. Still some things that he has to iron out, especially in pass protection. So he's still working on those things, actually working on those things with Jaylen Warren. But I think that right now is a good time to buy Caleb Johnson, especially to start the season. I might see some more Gainwell these first few weeks. So I think there's some time to buy Caleb Johnson, 6'1", 224 pounds, 240 attempts in 2024. In college, he ran for over 1,500 yards and had 22 touchdowns. Also showcased some of his receiving ability in his final college season with 22 receptions for 188 yards. I think he's going to have a slow start, might be more of a 3-back committee as he gets ramped up and acclimated to the NFL. But right there in Pittsburgh, man, they gave Najee a lot of work, and this is basically what they want Caleb Johnson to be. Steelers last season were 4th. This is a team that wants to run the ball. They want to establish the ground game, and this is why they have Caleb Johnson. They were 4th in rushing attempts last season with 533. So even if you give Jaylen Warren 200 of those, right, you're looking at, I think Caleb Johnson's going to get a healthy workload in 2025, and I think we should be buying now while the buzz and the hype is not as high. At number 2, we have another receiver, Rome Odunze. And right now, I'm just intrigued right now by those Bears offense. I think they're going to take a good step forward there with Ben Johnson in there. I think he's going to scheme up his playmakers. We've already seen lots of production from all those Detroit Lions, pretty much all the skill positions, even though they had, crowded wide receiver room, 2 running backs. They had a great tight end. We saw production from all of those players, and I think we're going to see something similar if we can have Caleb Williams take a step forward with Ben Johnson. Odunze right now is the wide receiver 20. You still have DJ Moore there, But DJ Moore is 29, I believe. And I think that Rome Odunze is going to take a good step forward, maybe even be the lead guy there in Chicago this season. At number 1, this one is going to be, you probably are not going to like this one, guys. A lot of people are super low right now on Breece Hall, the RB16 right now in Dynasty rankings, and people are down on him. He is down 21 spots overall, but there was a time last season where Breece Hall was like top 5 running back in Dynasty football. We know Braylon Allen is going to be worked in a little bit, and the Jets are not very attractive offensively, but I think that plays into Breece Hall's favor. I think he's the best pass catching back that they have there. And we saw Breece Hall just as extremely talented running back. I think we forget he was the RB6 and the RB7 in points per game in 2022 and 2023. Took a dip last season, was the RB18 last season with 14.7 points per game. Last season, that was ahead of Bucky Irving, right, with that finish. So also just turned 24 years old. He's still super, super young. And he's younger than RJ Harvey, younger than Chase Brown, younger than Kyron, JT, Josh Jacobs, James Cook, all ranked ahead of him. So I think right there, also with Fields there at QB, we could help open up some things for Breece Hall having a rushing QB. And really, worst case scenario, guys, if the rumors are true and they're wanting to move on from Breece Hall, I think that there's plenty of spots in the NFL that would be better than the New York Jets. So I think when he goes into that second contract in the NFL, still going to be 24 years old, going to 25. I really like Breece Hall right now as a cheap buy for your Dynasty rosters. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show. And if you did, be sure to like and subscribe.